He broke her heart in one sentence, but destiny answered with a billionaire's love just one day later. What happened next shocked everyone. Emily Carter stared silently at the divorce papers on the dining table while her husband packed his clothes upstairs. 11 years of marriage. Gone. Just like that. Outside, rain tapped softly against the apartment windows, but inside her chest, a storm was destroying everything. Daniel came downstairs holding his suitcase. "I'll come back for the rest later," he said awkwardly. Emily looked at him with red swollen eyes. "So that's it?" Daniel sighed heavily. "Emily. Please don't make this harder." She laughed painfully. "Harder?" Her voice trembled. "You're leaving your wife for another woman, and you think I'm the difficult part?" Daniel looked away. "It's not just another woman." Emily already knew the answer. "Sophia." He stayed silent. That silence hurt more than any confession. Sophia Reynolds. His childhood crush. The woman he once called the love I never forgot. Emily swallowed painfully. "You told me she was just part of your past." "She was," Daniel said quietly. "But when I saw her again, everything came back." Emily felt tears fill her eyes again. "So our marriage meant nothing? That's not fair." "No," she whispered. "What you're doing isn't fair." Daniel rubbed his forehead impatiently. "I don't want to fight." "Of course not. You already got what you wanted." He picked up his suitcase. "I'm sorry." Emily stared at him. But strangely, he didn't look sorry. He looked relieved. That realization shattered her completely. As he walked toward the door, Emily asked one final question. "Did you ever really love me?" Daniel paused. Then quietly answered. "I think I loved the life we built, but Sophia was always the woman I truly wanted." The door closed. And Emily broke down instantly. She collapsed onto the floor crying so hard she could barely breathe. Not because she lost him, but because she suddenly realized she had spent years loving someone who never loved her the same way. The next morning felt empty. Cold. Silent. Emily walked slowly through the apartment, touching little memories. Their wedding photo. Coffee mugs with their names. Birthday cards. Tiny pieces of a life that no longer existed. At noon, she packed 2 suitcases and left. She had nowhere to go. No family nearby. No plan. Only heartbreak. She sat alone on a bench in a city park while dark clouds gathered overhead. People walked past laughing and talking while she tried not to cry again. Then suddenly, a little girl bumped into her. Oops. Emily blinked in surprise. The child looked around 6 years old with curly brown hair and huge eyes. "I'm sorry," the little girl said quickly. A deep male voice called out from nearby. "Lily." Emily looked up. And for a moment, everything around her seemed to stop. A tall man in a black suit hurried toward them. Sharp jawline. Gray eyes. Powerful presence. But strangely gentle expression. He reached the little girl inside. "How many times have I told you not to run away?" She looked sad, Lily whispered innocently while pointing at Emily. The man looked at Emily carefully. Their eyes met. And somehow he immediately understood she was hiding pain. "I'm sorry about her," he said politely. "It's okay," Emily replied softly. Then rain suddenly started pouring heavily. People rushed away for shelter. Emily grabbed her suitcase helplessly. Before she could move, the man removed his expensive coat and held it above her. "You'll get soaked." Emily shook her head. "I'm fine." "No," he said gently. "You're pretending to be." That sentence nearly made her cry again. He pointed toward a black luxury car parked nearby. "Let me help." Emily hesitated. Normally she would never accept kindness from a stranger. But at that moment, she was too exhausted to fight life anymore. Inside the car, warm air surrounded them while rain hit the windows outside. The little girl smiled brightly. "I'm Lily." Emily smiled weakly. "I'm Emily." The man extended his hand calmly. "Alexander Knight." Emily froze slightly. Everyone knew that name. Alexander Knight. The billionaire businessman constantly featured in magazines and news headlines. People described him as cold, powerful, and impossible to approach. Yet the man sitting beside her looked nothing like the rumors. He looked tired, lonely, human. Over the next few days, Emily learned something surprising. Alexander was kind. Not performative kindness. Real kindness. He helped quietly without expecting praise. When he discovered Emily was struggling financially after the divorce, he offered her temporary work at his charity foundation. "We help women rebuild their lives," he explained. Emily looked surprised. "Why does this matter so much to you?" Alexander smiled faintly. "Because my mother once had to rebuild hers too." Slowly, Emily began working with the foundation. And slowly, her broken heart began healing. For the first time in years, someone listened to her without dismissing her feelings. Alexander never pressured her. Never flirted aggressively. Never made her feel weak. Instead, he respected her. One evening after work, Emily accidentally laughed at one of Lily's silly jokes. The sound surprised even her. Alexander looked at her quietly. "That's the first real smile I've seen from you." Emily lowered her eyes. "I forgot what happiness felt like." "You shouldn't have had to." His voice carried genuine sadness. And for the first time since the divorce, Emily felt safe. Meanwhile, Daniel's new relationship with Sophia was already falling apart. At first everything seemed exciting. Luxury parties, romantic trips, passion. But slowly Daniel noticed something missing. Sophia loved attention, money, status. But she didn't truly care about him. Whenever he talked about emotions, she changed the subject. Whenever he struggled, she disappeared. One night Daniel came home early and overheard Sophia talking on the phone. "He actually left his wife for me," she laughed mockingly. If he could betray her, he'd betray anyone. Daniel felt sick. Suddenly he remembered Emily staying awake beside him during his hardest nights. Emily supporting him when he had nothing. Emily believing in him before anyone else did. And for the first time, he realized what he had destroyed. 3 months later, Daniel attended a luxury charity gala for business networking. As he entered the ballroom, people suddenly turned toward the grand staircase. Daniel looked up and froze. Emily stood there wearing an elegant black dress. Confident, beautiful, radiant. Nothing like the broken woman he abandoned. Beside her stood Alexander Knight. The billionaire rested his hand gently against her back while photographers surrounded them. Daniel's stomach dropped. No way. People whispered around him. They look perfect together. Alexander never brings anyone to events. He's crazy about her. Daniel suddenly felt something painful twist inside his chest. Regret. Real regret. Emily noticed him standing across the room. For one brief moment, silence passed between them. Daniel slowly approached Emily. She looked calm. "Hello, Daniel. You look amazing." "Thank you." Daniel glanced nervously at Alexander. "You're dating him?" Alexander answered calmly before Emily could speak. "Yes." Something about hearing it aloud crushed Daniel completely. He looked back at Emily desperately. I made a mistake. Emily's eyes softened sadly. But there was no love left in them anymore. Only peace. You didn't think it was a mistake when you walked away. Daniel lowered his head. I thought Sophia was what I wanted. And now? Daniel looked at her with tears forming. Now I realize I lost the best thing that ever happened to me. Emily stayed silent for a moment. Then she smiled gently. I hope one day you learn to value people before losing them. Those words hurt more than anger. Because they were true. Alexander quietly took Emily's hand. And Daniel realized something devastating. The woman he abandoned had found someone far better than him. Someone who protected her heart instead of breaking it. Later that night, Emily and Alexander stood outside beneath glowing city lights. You okay? Alexander asked softly. Emily nodded. I think tonight finally closed the last painful chapter. Alexander smiled slightly. You deserve peace. Emily looked at him carefully. No, she whispered. I deserve love. Alexander gently touched her face. Yes, he said quietly. You do. Then he kissed her softly beneath the stars. And for the first time in years, Emily no longer felt abandoned. Because sometimes losing the wrong person is exactly what leads you to the right one. Red Heart Life Lesson: never chase people who are willing to lose you. The right person will never make you beg for love. Backhand index pointing right. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more emotional love stories.